Oh, I'm flossing. Tell little bitch get up. Hit it once, had a feeling nauseous.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy JJ Buckets, and we are back. Now, we did a challenge last time. We did the NBA Would You Rather, and I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was great, so I thought I'd introduce another challenge in this week's episode. So this one's a little bit different. It's going to be like one of those capped teams challenges where basically the rules here are you have $15 to make an all-time team. Now I'm going to throw the picture, the graphic up on the screen so you guys can have a good look, see the values of every player, and maybe sit back and see if you can build a better team than I can. Who knows? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But yeah, I'm going to throw it up, and if you want to pause the video now to look at it, there it is. Now with that being said, let's get right into it. So for this challenge, I'm going to safely assume that you're going to be getting the prime versions of everybody, because it would kind of defeat the purpose if you didn't, right? It's like, what if you get, say, Kobe Bryant in the last year of his playing career? It's not the same as getting Mamba mentality Kobe Bryant in the middle of his career winning championships and everything. Same could go for a lot of these guys. There's a big difference between getting, say, prime Shaq and the Shaq that was withering away his playing years in, say, Cleveland and Boston. Anyways, that being said, the groundwork here is pretty simple as to how this works. So I'm going to get into it. The first selection here, for the point guard spot, I'm going to go with Steph Curry for $3. Now, Steph Curry to me, I think, is an easy pick for what I want to construct from this basketball team. He is, as we all know, probably the best shooter of all time. One of the greatest point guards of all time for sure. If you guys haven't already seen the video, probably for my money's worth the second best point guard of all time with all that he does. Great passer and facilitator and playmaker because of some things he does on the court. He's a very underrated finisher near the bucket. And on top of that, we already know what he does with shooting. We know he's one of the best ball handlers of all time. I think this is an easy pick for me, especially once you see the rest of these guys here. Now, after that, I'm going to go to the $2 bracket. I'm going to take my boy, Dwyane Wade. Now, for those of you that don't know, Dwyane Wade is probably one of my favorite players of all time. He's probably right there in the top 3, with LeBron and Steve Nash being the other 2. And Wade can just do so many good things for you. If you're taking the best version of Wade, you're taking a version of him that's one of the best defenders of all time at the shooting guard position, has a great mid-range look, great slasher at the basket, unselfish and very willing player to get others involved as well. I'm not going to say like he's the best passer in the world or anything, but he's definitely a guy that can distribute the rock out there. And we're going to combine those two in the backcourt with a pretty good tandem on the wings as well. Again, going back into the $3 bracket, we're going to take Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant, I know, I get it. He's vilified. Not a lot of people like him. A lot of people want to sit there and just discredit him at every turn. But god damn, you have to admit Kevin Durant is a hell of a player. Again, for my money's worth, probably the number 2 or the number 3 small forward of all time, depending on where you want to rank him and Larry Bird and who you have higher. But nonetheless, Kevin Durant, phenomenal. Obviously, we know he's a great shooter. We know he can get a shot anywhere on the court. Ridiculously gifted player in terms of basically being a guard trapped in a 7-footer's body, which is insane. Underrated rim protector as well. Has definitely gotten a lot better on defense. And I'm assuming all these guys that I'm getting them in their prime. So I'm assuming I'm getting the Golden State Warriors version of Kevin Durant that can play very good to great defense consistently. So I'm really excited about that. Naturally, go with everything else that he does so well on the court. Again, unselfish player. I think he fits very well with this team. And for the 4 spot, we're going to reach into the $5 category and spend big. And it sounds like you know who I'm picking. You probably do. I'm taking LeBron James here. Now, obviously, with the way modern day basketball has evolved, the 4 spot is kind of often used as almost like a second small forward spot, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. I think LeBron James brings the team together really well with his with his passing, with his rebounding, and again, we're assuming this is prime LeBron, and prime LeBron to me is 2012, 2013 LeBron, where he was just ridiculously efficient, a great scorer everywhere on the court. You know, he had a great three-point shot that year too, and he was definitely playing ridiculously good defense. Probably could guard 1 through 4. I know a lot of people would say he could guard 1 through 5 around there. I'm not quite willing to say that, but he could definitely guard 4s through 1s at a very elite level. Very versatile, obviously. That's pretty much what has him included in a lot of GOAT debates for people, is the fact that he can do almost everything on the court. And I think he's just a great, you know, front line figurehead for this team and for this lineup. Now, to finish this up, if you guys have been counting, we had $3 for Curry, $2 for Wade, $3 for Kevin Durant, and $5 for LeBron, which leaves us with $2, which for me actually works out perfectly because I get to throw in my boy Shaquille O'Neal at that center spot for $2. And that'll complete the lineup. Obviously, what I love about putting Shaq here is prime Shaq was pretty much unstoppable in the paint. He was just insane with how he could just throw his body around and just go through everybody. And I think that mixes well with a team that, you know, has some really elite shooters, a couple of them that will stretch the court and give them a chance to dominate. Now, you guys have heard my lineup. It's Curry, Wade, KD, LeBron, and Shaquille O'Neal. Now, let me tell you why I like it, and let me tell you why it works, if you ask me. I was already beginning to touch upon it a little bit, and I'll build on it further. I think their play styles really complement each other. I think KD and Curry in particular are really going to give you some great spacing. You know, the fact that they're such elite shooters and that they can dominate from beyond that three-point line. And what I love about that is it's going to give guys like Shaquille O'Neal and guys like LeBron a real opportunity to dominate the inside. And we know prime versions of Shaq and LeBron were absolute bullies in the paint. Nobody could stop them. Shaq because of his just sheer force in the paint, and LeBron, you know, with his athleticism and strength, was just bully balling everybody in his prime. So the fact that you're going to have Steph Curry out there on the perimeter with Kevin Durant constantly threatening you with the three-point shot, you know, you have to give something up. You're either going to spread out and make sure that these guys aren't hitting it from outside, which will leave Shaq and LeBron with a lot of room to dominate on the interior. You know, Wade as well. Obviously, he was a great slasher in his prime. Or, you know, you're going to close down the paint and you're going to leave yourself open to threes from Kevin Durant, from Steph Curry, and even from LeBron. Again, we said he was a good shooter in that day. Obviously, Wade, you know, kind of built a three-point shot later into his game, and I'm not really going to include that. But either way, you have 3 guys that can really dominate inside, 3 guys that can really dominate outside, I think, and you're going to have to give one or the other up, which I think is really great, you know. I think Wade is also a really great glue guy for this lineup. Again, he can do a little bit of everything, very willing, very unselfish. And LeBron, of course, you know, being the great passer that he is, I think is going to have a chance to find all of these guys and their prime opportunities to score, which I also absolutely love. And again, it was slightly touched upon, but I'll expand on it a bit more. They're all willing passers, and I love that. They're all unselfish players for the most part in terms of their play styles and how they do it on the court. You know, you don't really have a guy that necessarily needs the ball in his hand constantly to dominate. Maybe like, you know, if we're talking about James Harden or Kobe Bryant, I don't necessarily think you have that. Sure, you have ball dominant players, don't get me wrong, but I think all of these guys can work off ball, and all these guys are unselfish enough to let the guy who's on fire dominate. And then on top of all this, I think all these guys in their primes are good defenders, you know, outside of Steph Curry, which I'm gonna touch upon later. They're all very good to great defenders, and they'll make this team tough to score on, and it just really brings about everything else very well. The fact that they're also going to be a good defensive team. And here's a little fun thing that I noticed when looking at these guys is all these players on here have played with and won a championship with at least one other guy on the team. You know, Curry's obviously won it with KD and vice versa. Wade has won it with LeBron and vice versa. And Shaq has won it with Wade. And again, vice versa. So they got that championship DNA built into them too, which makes me really excited about the idea of them playing together and dominating together, sharing the court with guys that they have experience winning with. Now, if we're going to the biggest flaw that I think I see on this team. I briefly did mention it, and I'll bring it to light. I think it's the fact that maybe Steph Curry is a bit exploitable in terms of his lack of defensive prowess. Again, I don't think he's a bad defender, but I don't think he's an elite one by any means either. So you know what? That could get exposed a little bit, and I think that'll definitely, you know, be the biggest flaw of this team is, say, Steph Curry on the switch and the pick and roll. Another flaw that could potentially, you know, be around for this team is outside of KD and Curry, you know, the shooting on this team maybe isn't as elite as it could possibly be, and we know how important that is in the modern day NBA, and I totally understand that, but I think those are the only two real flaws that you can pick out of this lineup and just be like, that could seriously be a problem. That being said, I've listed the strengths for you. I think they heavily, in my opinion, outweigh the flaws of this team, and I think this team could honestly go tilt-to-tilt with a lot of all-time lineups and a lot of lineups that you can create from this challenge. But hey, if I'm wrong, let me know. Drop a comment below. Tell me that you have a better lineup than me. I'd love to hear it. Tell me why they'd beat this team. Obviously, some of you guys are going to put together lineups with LeBron and Michael Jordan and be like, yeah, that's it. We've trumped you. And hey, maybe you have. I'd love to see it. And just let me know what you got, and drop a comment below. If you like the video, hit the like, hit the subscribe button as well. We'd love the support here. And yeah, I think that does it for me, guys. I am out.